The component in the top left of the screen is the graph viewer. Navigation in this view is very similar to the scalar viewer. You just right drag to pan and mouse wheel to zoom. Each node in this graph represents a label. Each edge between two nodes represents a transition between two states. As you can see, the thickness of the edges varies, as it represents the number of occurrences of that particular transition. The edges are bent to show the temporal context of a transition. So, for example, in a normal graph with straight edges, you can only see the number of transitions that happen between a pair of nodes. But in this case, if we look at the transitions from state 5 to state 7, for example, then you'll notice that there is a curved line going from 5 to 7 all the way to 9. This line indicates that the sequence 5, 7, 9 occurs in that order, and the thickness of the line represents how many times that specific time sequence occurs. So, if you want to see how this is linked, you can move the nodes around a bit by selecting them first by left clicking and then middle dragging. And you can see that all the edges move along with your node that are related. To investigate this selection further, I'll build a custom selection. So I'll start with pressing R to reset the current selection, and then I'll add my first label in this sequence, label 5. I'll just double click label 5, and you'll see that these orange lines now represent all the possibilities to continue this sequence. So everything that you can reach by starting in state 5. If I want to continue building this sequence, I can add label 7 to the list by double clicking it. And now you'll see that there are other possibilities. It goes from 5 to 7. There's a thick line going back to 5, so there's quite a bit of bouncing between 5 and 7. But there's also a thinner line going through label 6, and there's a very thin line going to label 9. So if I now double click label 9, you'll see that I have only a few possibilities left of continuing this selection. So the sequence 5, 7, 9, while it does occur in the time series, it only happens, well, as we can see in the scalar view, 4 times.